Community Justice was the first gun violence prevention organization that nationally was focused on policy and organizing, being led by Black and brown people on the ground, survivors of gun violence. It was incredibly important because our voices were not being heard. I really started thinking about what policies could really change our communities and how could we make sure that we not only had a seat at the table around the fight to end gun violence, but that we were making our own table.
For too long, our country has failed so many communities, especially those that are Black and brown, and that has spiraled into violence and oppression. And community justice is an effort to rebuild those communities, first by making them safer, but then creating more opportunities for communities to thrive.
At the beginning, Community Justice was one of the few Black-led organizations on the Hill working in policy around gun violence prevention.
There were not many of us who knew how to work the Hill, knew how to work with policymakers, knew how to really help even build legislation and help get it passed.
Community justice shifts the way that we tell stories and the way that we think about policy by centering the people that are most impacted by gun violence.
Community Justice is the core organization that really bridges the gap between community leadership and policy work.
Community Justice is able to take our injustices, the things that we don't have the strength to fight for, and actually be our voice in places and spaces that we are not.
The work that they do is transformational as it relates to just building that national voice around gun violence and making sure that the people who are supposed to represent us are held accountable to representing us.
Continued investment in this work is so important right now because we're saving lives.
We've seen tremendous momentum, but we haven't eradicated gun violence, at least not nationwide. And we have seen certain communities be almost successful in completely eradicating. Places like Newark, New Jersey, that only had 31 homicides last year is incredible. Boston had less than 50 homicides. And so we are seeing proof that we can make this rare and uncommon, but we have to push for it to occur in every community and not just those who are most resourced or have the strongest policies.
If you want to support work that bridges that gap between policy and community leadership, Community Justice is the organization to do that.
There are kids in communities today that are safe because of the policies that we help to fight for. We know that this works. We have solutions.
Community Justice take a lot of credit for the violence intervention funding, for the mental health funding, and for the gun trafficking provision that's in that bill that made gun trafficking a federal offense. It's a really great example of how we were able to contribute in keeping illegal guns out of our communities, but also investing in resources to shift behavior in communities impacted by violence.
Our work has helped shift that policy, and we've been able to do things like write policy, testify in front of Congress, make sure that people are running for city council, things like that that just didn't exist before.
That's why community justice is important to this day and why it'll continue to be important, because as long as there is gun violence in our communities, we are here to help shift those narratives. We're here to help shape policy and to ensure that our communities are safe. Point blank period. We invite you to be a part of the movement and join us.